Maricopa County Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. It is November 20th, 2025 at 9:31. We'll begin with a roll call, please.
Commissioner Dan Zyson, Commissioner Finter, Commissioner Hernandez,
Here.
Commissioner Lawrence, Commissioner Layton,
Here.
Chairman Lindblom,
Here.
Vice Chair Milhaven,
Here.
Commissioner Rock-Wallach, Commissioner Toma, Commissioner Whitney.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. This meeting has been noticed in accordance with Open Meeting Law ARS 38-431. Agendas will be available within 24 hours of each meeting in the Maricopa County Planning and Development Office and are also available on the Planning and Development website 1 week prior to the meeting at www.maricopa.gov/planning. With respect to the zipper meeting process, items will be considered in the order they appear on the agenda unless otherwise agreed to by the Commission. Anyone wishing to speak shall notify staff via email or raise your hand within the GoToWebinar. The amount of time allowed for speaking shall be at the discretion of the Commission Chair. Staff will provide the Chairman with the names of persons who have registered and noted desire to comment and those registered participants who have raised their hand. The Chairman will call on each named participant one at a time. So, with that, I guess we will get to our agenda.
Thank you, Vice Chair Milhaven, and Commissioners Adam Cannon, Planning and Development. Today we're here for the Zoning Infrastructure Policy Procedure and Ordinance Review Committee meeting, and our topic of the day is to just give you an update on the Maricopa County Comprehensive Plan. And we're really excited to share that. I have our consultant from Michael Baker International, Matt Klysico, here. That will assist with any questions that the Commission has, as well as any answers I can provide at the end of the presentation. But we're really excited to just share with you how much further along in plan development we've gotten, and the public participation and the response we've gotten, feedback so far. So with that, I just wanted to our agenda for the presentation is just to give you an update on the project schedule, to go over the public outreach, to also go over proposed goals and policies in your packet. We received a near finalish copy of the goals and policies before we go to the 60-day review draft for the comprehensive plan that goes out to the public. And then talk about the next steps in the development of the plan, where we're going from here. So if you see on your screen, you have a kind of timeline of where we've been with this. So we started with phase 1, looking at visioning what the plan would be. We started with an initial outreach surge that had 5 in-person meetings, 1 grand virtual meeting. We convened a technical advisory committee, including several agencies of regional significance and with regional expertise, because the comprehensive plan throughout the county is just that. It is a large plan covering the entire county, and we needed that expertise to advise us on the direction of the plan. We then went and looked at where we want to go with the plan. That's phase 2. We had a second outreach surge where at that time, we were proposing some of the content that would eventually comprise some of the goals and policies, and we were presenting that to members of the public. We held another outreach surge that had 5 in-person district meetings, as well as another grand virtual meeting, and several TAC meetings in that time frame. And right now, you see on the screen, we have a progress to date arrow that shows what steps we're taking next. We're about to unveil the draft plan to the public. We expect that to be early in the beginning of next year. And then from there, we'll be bringing it to the commission and then eventually to the board following commission determination. So we're really excited about the feedback we've gotten from the public and just the level of participation. Comprehensive planning participation, anybody who's been involved in that knows how it can be difficult to really engage the public on some of these particularly broad topics, broad visioning, broad goals and policies. We are very pleased about the outreach that we've done to the community. All in all, we've held 13 public meetings throughout all 5 supervisor districts in 7 different locations, 3 of those being grand countywide virtual meetings. We had 25 participants, and we've held 5 technical advisory committee meetings thus far. Our online digital engagement activities saw a great deal of participation. Our mapping activity got 154 responses, in person and virtual. We had 2,407 completed surveys between outreach surges 1 and 2, 577 ideal wall posts and comments, and over 9,000 visits to the website, with 6,474 unique visitors and a total of over 3,000 participants in the virtual engagement activities. And we're really pleased with the response we got in regard to that. What we gleaned from the public outreach were 6 particular topics that our residents want to see the comprehensive plan focus on. Chief among them is supporting the improvement of safety coverage and response times. That refers to law enforcement. We had a lot of response related to safety. We had a lot of response related to preserving the natural and rural landscape, expanding access to recreational lands and opportunities, encouraging high quality development. So people really placed an emphasis on the quality of the development coming into their communities as well. Also protecting the regional water supply. Water is a significant issue of statewide importance, and our residents are concerned about that, as well as continuing the business environment for economic opportunities, so economic development throughout the county, expanding that growth that we've been seeing for the last couple of decades. So moving on from there, that feedback that we got from the public helped us develop the goals and policies for the plan. So on your screen, there's a general feedback loop or strategy for how we develop the proposed goals and proposed policies. Most of the development of the goals and policies came from the feedback from the public and the stakeholders that have been involved with the plan. We made sure to develop those policies in line with state statute and removed completed or outdated policies. So if something sometimes there's references to particular organizations that may not exist in the policies anymore. We looked at those and got rid of those. Or we've completed that particular policy over the last comprehensive planning period. So we looked at areas where we could streamline those as well. And we organized those under different elements and with goal statements, the goals with goal statements to give more information about the goal we were trying to achieve. We're pleased about the number of comments we received on our goals and policies from our technical advisory committee. We had 55 total from our member agencies. That process of commenting is not over yet. We may receive more feedback from the technical advisory committee and the stakeholder agencies, but we're pleased because we were able to address or implement at least 84% of those comments into the comprehensive plan draft document, which again will be putting forth to the public after the new year. So in your packets, you all received a copy of the goals and policies a draft of the goals and policies document that will be included in the plan. And the goals and policies document is organized under several elements, the vast majority of which are required under state law. The first and most important of which is land use, which looks at the patterns of growth and development over the next 10 years in the county. We develop goals and policies for each one of these elements, and as well as some umbrella policies associated with those particular elements as well. We also cover transportation, looking at current existing transportation patterns and future projects, anticipated projects, and how we plan for that in the future. We also look at the environment. One of the things that came out of the public participation was that residents were focused on protecting those natural resources that we do have in Maricopa County. And so one of the areas that we've beefed up in terms of our goals and policies in particular includes the section on environment, which addresses environmental quality and hazards. We also focus on economic growth. Economic growth is not a state mandated element, but it is something that is important to Maricopa County and important to our residents. And we are really interested in cultivating an environment where growth flourishes. During our public participation process, we looked at the kinds of industries that Maricopa County should prioritize when thinking about future growth. The largest of those industries happen to be healthcare related industries and technology related industries. So the public sees just what everybody else is seeing in terms of the direction of how Arizona and Maricopa County's economy is going to grow in the future. And they're focused on that and thinking about it as well. And then we also have a section on growth areas, which ties into land use. Growth areas is where we look at the areas within the county where we're anticipating future growth. Now, from a countywide broad perspective, it functions differently from an area plan. And we're really pleased because our consultants really got into the nitty-gritty and developed a model for how we look at future growth within the county. In particular, how a rural and urban framework, basically, hence the name Framework 2040. They really put an exclamation point on that title. And so what our consultants done is put together basically a model for how when we bring recommendations associated with land use decisions to the commission, how we're going to look at when someone proposes urban development. We're going to be looking at this framework that our consultant developed to show us areas where urban growth may be occurring, even though the area may be designated rural, for example. And so that policy is still in development. Matt, did you want to share a couple of details about that as well?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Adam. I guess I would just clarify or add to that opening comment that really what we're wanting to do is look at that interface between the urban and rural environment across the county. And we recognize that that changes from one area of the county to the next. And so in order to memorialize that and make it more of a defined process, we use this framework to help the county start to, as Adam mentioned, when we look at areas across the county, this tool will help us ensure that there's urban services for urban development. And so this gives a more methodical way to go about it as opposed to a haphazard, if you will, approach. And so what this does is take some of the existing policies that the county already has and put it into a flow diagram so that the public can understand how those decisions are made and then how the process proceeds. So it's really taking things that the county's already been doing, already had in policy, and incorporating it to a more defined framework.
Thank you, Matt. An additional element includes open space. Again, that's another area, including environment, that I'm pleased to say, based on the public feedback, we really beefed up some of the goals and policies associated with open space planning. Particularly, one of the things we were seeing at the last SIPR meeting, we uh, talked about this a little bit, is that the value that our residents place on natural environments, and in particular trails. And so we've made that a part of our goals and policies, and added more description to that to really honor what the public has come forward with in terms of their feedback. Also, we looked at water resources. Now, water resources is a mandated element under state law. At the same time, Maricopa County has little influence on water supply or conservation. We can certainly encourage it and do what we can as a county. However, water policy is typically controlled by the state. The other piece of that is that Maricopa County isn't a water provider either. So while we can encourage protection of the water supply, can encourage conservation, encourage the state to come up with solutions to some of the challenges that they're seeing statewide with water. Um, at the same time, our residents are concerned about it, so we wanted to make sure we address that as thoroughly as we could, consider the limitations that the county has in regards to that type of policy. We also address energy. Map on the screen shows a map of the energy generation facilities throughout the county, including significant amounts of solar energy development that have occurred over the last couple of decades. Energy is an important issue. The county supports generally in all of the above strategy to meet energy demand needs for the future years, but we also appreciate the amount of alternative energy development that we're seeing within the county, and we still are supporters of that as well. And then lastly, we look at cost of development. One of the things that we were seeing from the public feedback is they were looking to trust Maricopa County. So we, in terms of the financial reporting, we received a lot of feedback about transparency, so we added a goal that addressed that. We look at cost of development because we want to ensure that development pays for itself, basically. And so while it's not a very large section, there are certain policies in there in particular about how Maricopa County and how sees development and how that development pays for itself for the future. And then in terms of next steps, we have a 60-day public review draft period coming up. That's going to begin in January. We're going to kick off that period with a final grand virtual meeting. And then we may hold another agency meeting during that 60-day period to get some more comments and feedback from our technical advisory committee, anything else that they're seeing before we come to the commission for final consideration of the plan, and that's going to be in spring of next year. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that the commission may have.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? I guess you did a great job.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there any other business? No other business? Then we are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen.